Hey everyone, today we're going to tackle a tough question that we get asked all the time. What's the difference between a SmartBoard and a Promethean board? The point of this video is to go over some of those differences so you can make an informed decision and get the best board for your application. Of course, we're more than happy to talk to you about it at any time, but we wanted you to be able to see it so you can get an idea of what we're talking about. So, SmartBoard, Promethean board. They're both interactive whiteboards. They basically do the same thing. You touch it and it controls your computer. That's it. So where's the difference come in? Well, there's a few physical differences and we'll cover that, but the big difference is in the software. And that is why I want you to see it here. So sit back, relax. We're going to talk SmartBoard versus Promethean board. All right, so first we're going to start with SmartBoard. This is a SmartBoard right next to me here. Now SmartBoard, there's two different series, 800 series and 600 series. And we're primarily talking about educational purposes here, so we're going to focus on educational boards and educational software. The 800 series and the 600 series, very similar. They're both multi-touch and gesture compatible, so it's a touch-sensitive board. Move your finger across it and it does something. They are dry erase compatible, but I don't really recommend them be used as dry erase boards. You can write on it, you can erase it. It might leave a little smudging behind. Over time, it's possible that it can stain. I always suggest to use these boards electronically. Just don't use the markers on them at all. So, here's our SmartBoard. Looking at our computer desktop. Again, we touch the board and it moves the mouse. So, when we want to write on top of our desktop or on top of an application, there's a piece of software in here called Smart Ink. There's also software called Notebook. And Notebook is the software that everybody knows and everybody wants to use in classrooms. So I'm going to talk about Smart Ink as well as Notebook and how the two work together. First is Smart Ink. So over here is a little tab which we can open up to reveal a toolbar. This is our Smart Ink tools. If we select the pen, you can basically just start writing and you'll see a Smart Ink note appear on your screen. These can be translucent, they can be transparent, or they can be solid in color. You can keep on writing on them and they expand as needed, so it can fill up your entire board. Just write whatever you want in there, there you go. Up on the top is the Smart Ink Toolbar. In there we can change pen colors, we can change pen styles, add a highlighter, you can use your eraser, you can change back to the mouse cursor if you wanted to. So as you need to make changes, you can do so, just like that. We can come back in here, decide we want to write in red, and we can write in red. It's all well and good, right? Let's say you don't need to save it, you're all done. You can just X out of that window. Or you can come up to your toolbar and there's a clear ink feature. It'll just wipe it out. But then there's capture. So we can now capture this entire window here. And what that's going to do is it'll save it back into Smart Notebook, which just popped up right here. We'll get to that in a second. So you might be asking yourself, well, I can write over my desktop. That's all well and good. But what about, programs? What if I want to write over a web page or spreadsheet, a PowerPoint? Well, no problem. Smart Ink goes through everything on your computer. Here's Firefox, for example. There's the Smart Ink toolbar again. Whether it's Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer, PowerPoint, Word, whatever other program or window you open up, you'll see your Smart Ink toolbar. So you can select your pen and you can start writing. Just write on top of it however you want. At any point, you can select the mouse cursor again, move it around if you need to. And as I did before, we can either clear ink or we can capture ink. Just going to draw something there for the sake of saving it. And we'll capture. And again, that's going to save back into our notebook software. Here it is again. So that's going to lead us into Notebook. Notebook software is the presentation and lesson software that comes with SmartBoards. Now it's important to know that in the latest version of Notebook, There is 1 year of software maintenance included with the purchase of the board or the license of software. But after that, there's an annual maintenance fee. It doesn't cost much, and considering the features that the software has, it's a very small price to pay. But it's something you have to deal with nonetheless, and I want to make sure you know that. So, just going to start walking through some of the features of Notebook here. On the side, you'll see the 2 ink pages that I saved before. This was the desktop, and over here was Firefox. Those are in Notebook. I can now save those with other Notebook files as one file. So if you're working on one presentation, one lesson, whatever it is, just save it all together. Notebook has its own drawing tools up here. We have different pens, different pen colors and styles, different line styles. You can have shape tools, so we can make circles and squares, triangles, do all kinds of stuff. We have line tools, make a nice straight line if you need it. You can add text, you can use your eraser, of course. We even have a fill tool. So you want to fill some of these shapes, we can do that. And of course, once something is on your workspace here, it's an object that can be manipulated. So we can just tap on this square and move it around, or the circle. We can even move this line around, spin stuff around. It's all manipulative. And once again, it's a page in Notebook. So we can not only flip between this page, our Firefox page, our other InkNote page, but they can all be saved together. So some of those features that we just went over are pretty much going to be great for just about anybody. But when you're in a school, you're teaching a class, there's a lot more features that you're going to want to use, and Notebook has them. So we could see here there's a capture feature. What you can't see is that you can import media, pictures and things like that into these slides. There's a document camera, so if you're using a smart document camera, you can put the image right in there. We've got some math tools. There's a ruler that you can drop on here, and a compass, protractor, all kinds of great stuff. In addition to all the drawing tools, we have a table tool, we have a screen shade, so you can cover part of your screen if you want to reveal answers, things like that. All of these can be added to your Notebook pages and then saved in either the Notebook format, so you can go into them later on and edit them, which is a great feature, or you can export them into your gallery, which is right here, and we'll get into that in a second. You can also export them as a variety of file formats, including PowerPoint, PDF, image files, and web pages. So whatever you work on in here, you can pretty much do anything with it, because you can save it in a variety of formats. So if you have in a different computer, maybe other software that's not Smart Notebook, you can actually take this content, export it to a common file format, and use it on another computer, or give it to someone else who doesn't have Notebook. Going into the gallery that I mentioned earlier, this is where Notebook really shines, because Notebook is known for its educational content, and this is where it starts. So preloaded into Notebook is the gallery, and we have a bunch of other features here, Smart Exchange, Smart Lesson Activities, and so on. So I'm just going to touch upon some of these so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's make a new page here so it's nice and clean. So we go into our gallery. There's a variety of subjects: administration, arts, English, geography, math, science, special needs, sports. It goes on. And you can just click on one of these. So science, for instance, let's click on biology and human body. We have pictures, interactive and multimedia, and then Notebook files and pages. So that's Notebook pages that are basically already done for you. You can incorporate them into your class at any time. All you have to do is click on one of these, pulls up all the pictures that are available, and we can just drag it over into our workspace. And once again, that's an object that can be manipulated. We can make it bigger, we can make it smaller. We can grab a pen, and we can draw on top of it. You can do whatever you need to once it's in there. Moving on to some of the interactive stuff, interactive and multimedia. Just drag one of those over. Here's a video, for instance. So this is just dropped into your presentation, so you can play it, We can hit begin and watch that. I won't actually do it on here because it could take a little while, but all that stuff's loaded in there already. And then you've got, lastly, your notebook pages and files. And there's a variety of those here. So, for instance, we can drag over the human ear. And we got a nice little diagram of the ear. We can grab a pen, we can circle, we can highlight, we can use our screen shade. It helps if I actually click on it. And we can uncover it as needed. So a lot of the features that I mentioned earlier you can just use, which is really nice. Moving on, we can take a look at some of the other features that are just kind of stock in Notebook. Lesson activities. This is big. So you can open this up here. There's examples, there's different activities, games, graphs, and moving below that, there's lesson activity examples. This is the activity builder, and this is just what I'm going to show you real quick. But in the activity builder, you can look here at some pictures and notebook files, just like we did before. But what I really wanted to show you is an example of some activities here. So moving on from the gallery, we have our lesson activity toolkit and lesson activity examples folders. Now this is big because in here is how you create lessons and activities. So one of the activities you can make using the activity builder, and they give you a bunch of examples here, but just to look at one, we'll drag this over here. So we're going to look at this click to reveal activity. It actually tells you how to make it. Some of them actually have a link to watch a tutorial on how to do this. But here's an example of what you can make for your class. So it says which of these words are verbs. Press the balloons to pop them. So we can look at jump. If we tap on jump, the balloon pops and we see a check mark, meaning it's correct. If we tap on apple, the balloon pops and there's an X because an apple is not a verb. This is just an example of what you can actually make in Notebook. So when you look at that by itself, it makes Notebook a very powerful tool. There's also 3D objects in here which you can work into your lessons. And these are really neat. So an example would be this volcanic eruption, let's say. So it's an animation. It's a 3D animation. We can watch our volcano explode, and we can actually spin it around to different angles. You can watch it from front, back. We can flip this around like that. You can watch it from all different angles. It's actually really neat. And there's more of those available, not just what's included in Notebook, because you can get Smart Exchange. Now, as a Notebook user, you'll have access to Smart Exchange. And you can access it right in Notebook here. There's a link. And it's going to just open up. It'll take a second, and I'll just show you what that is. But Smart Exchange is your online resource for everything we just talked about. So there's gallery resources, lessons, all kinds of stuff. So in addition to making your own, you can come into Smart Exchange and you can find pre-made content, download it into Notebook, and use it in your class. So let's just take a look here real quick. Here's our browse by screen, so we can browse by subject. Even more than what I listed before: geography, citizenship, library science, cross-curricular, health and physical education, math, science, foreign languages. The list goes on and on. You can search by grade, you can search by file type. File types include notebook lessons, gallery collections, table activity packs, manipulatives, ideas, notebook math tools, 3D content. It just goes on and on. There's tons and tons of stuff up here. And one of the really neat things about this, you can search for any of those, and you can just tap on whatever one you like. We'll pull it up here. This, for example, is a puzzle, if you will. You drag the states to where they're supposed to go on the map. Well, that looks pretty cool. So I'm just going to hit this button, I'll download it, then I can open it up in Notebook and use it in class. Well, great, but we also have something else. Smart Notebook Express. We can hit this button that says Open in Smart Notebook Express, And Notebook Express is actually an online version of Notebook. So we can use this to open notebook files, manipulate and save notebook files, and just plain old view notebook files. So I mentioned earlier, if you had another teacher you want to share content with, they can use Notebook Express to open it up. You can download it to your computer, you can use it in your web browser. It's a great program. And it also lets you try out this stuff before you download it. So I just opened up our map here, and I can drag states to where they're supposed to go. Okay, maybe it's not exactly where it is, but close enough. So I can say, all right, this looks pretty good. I like this program. You're actually able to draw and annotate just like you can in Notebook. Think, all right, cool. I'm going to go back and download it now. So you can use it as a test bed to just try stuff out, or you can actually use it if you're, say, home and you want to, work on your curriculum. You can try stuff on your computer at home, and then when you get into school, download it on your computer there, or just share them with anybody and use it in Notebook Exchange. So that's pretty much it for SmartBoard and Smart Notebook. It was a really quick run through, but I hope it gives you an idea of just what it's capable of and what you can do. So we're going to move on now to Promethean. All right, so we're back continuing our discussion on SmartBoards versus Promethean boards. I have a Promethean board with me now. But before we dive into that software, I just want to go over some differences between the boards. So the previous board you saw was a SmartBoard. It's a 77-inch diagonal with a 4:3 aspect ratio. It's more square than this rectangle that you see here. SmartBoards are available in the 77-inch size as well as an 87-inch size in a 16:10 aspect ratio, which is like the board you see right here. It's widescreen, it's bigger, and it better matches the newer computers. Promethean boards, on the other hand, 88-inch, which is the one you see here, also a 16:10 aspect ratio, and they're also available in a 78-inch 4:3, so basically what you saw before in that SmartBoard. Now the SmartBoards will have a pen tray of some sort down at the bottom. Mine did not, because it gets in the way of the brackets that hold it on this stand, so we had to take it off. But a SmartBoard will have a pen tray. At the very least, it'll hold the styluses that come with it, but some of them do have buttons for on-screen keyboards in different colors to use in the Smart Ink. Promethean boards, on the other hand, no pen tray. It's not that I took it off, there was not one there in the first place. So this is Promethean's touch-sensitive board. It's called the ActivBoard Touch. Again, it's the 88-inch widescreen version. This is a 6-touch product with gesture compatibility. They've been known in the past for their pen-driven boards, as well as another product that was both pen-driven and touch-sensitive. So you could literally have your finger be the mouse over here, and then hold a pen in your hand over here and write without doing anything else. But this is the newest product they have, and it's the ActivBoard Touch. This is not a dry erase surface, although you can get the ActivBoard Touch with a dry erase surface. It's the same price as the other one, but you'd want to make sure you get the one that ends in the letter D for dry erase. So, enough on the boards. We're going to dive into Promethean now. And again, the board itself, just like Smart, you touch it and it does something. It's controlling your computer. So in that regard, they're basically the same. The difference is that Promethean uses their ActivInspire software. All right, so now we're going to talk about the Promethean ActivInspire software. So ActivInspire is the software that comes with Promethean. Unlike Smart's notebook software, there's no annual maintenance fee. So you install it on your computer, you activate it, and they actually put the license key right here on the board. So you'll never lose it. It's right there. But once it's activated, it's yours forever. You use it until you want to go with something else, or you get a new computer, and you know what I mean. So it's a real nice program, and it's got a lot of the same tools as Smart's notebook software. If you look at it, though, it does look a little bit different. Our toolbar is modular. You can move it around. You can dock it on either side, or top or bottom. And as I mentioned, it does have a lot of the same tools as Notebook. We have all our writing tools and drawing tools, math tools. You can import media. You can import pictures, whatever you want to do. In fact, when you open it up, you can have the dashboard screen pop up, which you'll see right here. And it gives you a few options for flip charts, which is the white area you see here, the workspace. There's Annotate over Desktop. There's Express Poll and Promethean Planet, which we'll get into later. But you see here, you can create a new flip chart, open existing flip charts, and import from PowerPoint or import Smart Notebook files. So they know that you might be using Notebook, so you can pull Smart Notebook files right into this software. We'll close that out of there. So one of the things you notice right off the bat when using ActivInspire is when you want to annotate on top of your computer screen, you just push this little icon right here. Your flip chart goes away and you're left with your toolbar. So we now have full mouse control over the computer. I'll open up Chrome, for instance. Could be PowerPoint, could be Excel, could be any other program that you have. Your toolbar stays here. You can move it wherever you want. But all you got to do is select the pen and you can annotate over your computer screen. There you go, just like before. You can then save this. We can make a new page. It'll be part of our flip chart. Call it a day. Unlike Smart, where you had the Ink, which was kind of that separate program that just dropped stuff into Notebook, we're working sort of within ActivInspire. It's just letting you work on your desktop instead of in that white screen. So when we want to get back to that white screen, we just push that icon again. Actually, pushed the wrong one and made it disappear. So there we go. All right, so one thing to note about ActivInspire is that when you create your flip charts, you can save them as a flip chart file. So you can pull it back up later and edit it. Or you can save in a .iwb format, which is a common file format, lets you open it up in any other whiteboard software. You can also save as image files and PDFs. So we're not quite where we were with Smart, saving into PowerPoint and stuff like that. But you can get a lot of use out of the formats you can save this in. Moving on. I want to show you now some of the tools that we have in ActivInspire. Again, very similar to Smart. We have our different colors. We have a pen and a highlighter, a fill, drawing tools, erasers. This one here is pretty neat. It's a little spray bottle, lets you clear your whole page, clear your backgrounds, just clear the annotations that you have and not the images. Gives you some pretty good options there. Something that I thought was really neat is the profiles you have for the toolbar. So it comes standard with 5 profiles, languages, mathematics, media, authoring, and at the board. And basically when you select one of those, it changes this toolbar to give you tools that you're going to use very frequently. So for instance, I just changed it to mathematics. As you can see, the toolbar got a lot smaller, but it's added our math tools down here. We have calculators and squares and rulers and a compass. And it changed some of our drawing tools because we're mainly going to be concerned with writing equations. We don't really need all that other stuff. So it's just a neat little feature that it has. I like to change it back to authoring, which is the default setting, and use it from there. You also have an equation writer on here. So if you are doing math, it lets you write equations, which is pretty cool. Outside of that, we talked about content with our Smart software. Promethean doesn't have it built in like Smart does, but it is available to you. So if we go out of our ActivInspire software, which I'm in full screen right now, so I'm going to get out of that. If we go on to PrometheanPlanet.com, which is right here, this is Promethean's resource website. There's over 96,000 resources available on this site. All of them you can download. Most of them are free, some of them you can buy. But there's a lot more than that too. We've got blogs and forums, so you can access information that other users put up there if maybe you're looking for advice or ideas. There's all your resources, and we'll look at that because it's going to be very similar to Smart. If we just kind of pull that page up again, you can navigate by resource types. We have collections and assets and games and homework and pre-made lesson plans, different projects you can do. Search by subject or grade. I'm going to pull up some here, so lesson plans for instance. If we pull those up, these are going to be pre-made plans that you can just download and use in your class. It's taken a while to pull them up, but here you go. Similar to Smart, we can preview it on the screen here, look at all the information, and if you want it, you can download it. Unlike our Notebook Express, we can't actually use it on the web, but you can just download it, use it in ActivInspire. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. Also up here, there's a store, which is pretty cool because you can buy accessories and spare parts, and you can also buy software and add-ons for ActivInspire. So you'll see on here we have, let's see, we can sort by grade and subject area, so let's just go to science because I'm a science fan. So we have templates for flip chart, we have actual pre-made lessons, all kinds of stuff. You can just download pictures and objects that you can use in ActivInspire. Some of them can be as low as $2, this one's $10. I've seen entire lesson packs for $100. So there's a wide range of prices as well as objects that you can download. Something else that's cool here is tech support. Available right here on Promethean Planet. You can access online support if you need help with anything. There's going to be videos and stuff you can read, as well as you can access real people to help you out. And lastly, professional development. In professional development, we've got curriculum and training. So curriculum for you or your teachers to learn how to use the board. And also you can access training. So if you want to actually have someone come in for training or get a webinar or something like that, videos and manuals you can access right there. A great resource right here. And that's all for use with ActivInspire. So you start using it, you go to PrometheanPlanet.com, you have access to all this stuff. So Promethean has another piece of software called Classflow, totally free for Promethean users. It's their cloud-based teaching platform. This is the website. You can download it to your computer, your smartphones, your tablets, any of your wireless devices, and you can just use it online here too. You sign up for it. Basically what Classflow does is it lets you create and present lessons over the internet to literally anyone. You can have a student on the other side of the world, as long as they have an internet connection, they can take part in your lesson. Be real time, you put it up on your board or on your computer, they can see it on their device, they can contribute to it, they can walk away with files and do homework after class. It's actually really cool. So if you have a student out sick, there's no excuse that they can't tag along in class through Classflow. And it's not just for schools either. This works great for corporate training and distance learning. So whether you have your corporate headquarters in California and you're training new employees in New York or Georgia or something like that, you can use Classflow, and in real time you can exchange ideas and get those thoughts in there. There's no delay. And again, for distance learning, you have students in one area and a professor somewhere else, there you go. You want to still hook up your video conferencing, you can do that, but all the information can be exchanged right through Classflow. All right, so that's it. That's our basic overview of SmartBoard versus Promethean board. On the one hand, we had the physical boards themselves, pretty similar. They basically do the same thing. Well, there are some differences between the two. And then we had the software. You got Smart, a lot of resources, great for lesson creation. You've got Promethean, get you up and running real fast. Things can be maybe a little bit easier for some people. But if you're still not sure, give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you about it and try to find which one's best for you and best for your budget. So give us a call at 866-942-6273.